What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Bo Show, where we take deep dives into novels, shows, and movies. Anything else that sparks our eye. Today, we'll be looking at the book Akeda Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. This book is about trials, teamwork, and juju that is beyond our world. So, let's get it started. Today, we have a guest that has been through a lot. From growing up in Chicago to being moved to Nigeria, he has fought war and learned much. Ladies and gentlemen, Sasha.
What up, fam? Thank you, Bo, for having me.
Absolutely, Sasha. So, how is it growing up in the suburbs of Chicago?
Well, there's a lot of sketchy stuff around there. The culture is not really the best around those areas either. Different parts of the burbs are filled with different races, where I grew up in mainly African American races.
Awesome. That's interesting about you, man. It seems like that culture has affected you a lot.
For sure. It's bad, it's negative, it affects, but also it allowed me to grow up so much.
Right.
Once I got to Nigeria, I was culture changed, but I ended up working out.
Awesome. That actually leads me right into another question. So, you get to Nigeria, you meet the crew. How's your first experience?
It was easier to connect with some of the crew more than others, but overall, it was pretty good. Living with Orlu was crazy because he is pretty different from me. Once I met Chi-Chi, it was an immediate connection. Sunny is cool too. She didn't know too much about what we were doing until we showed her what goes down on the juju side of things.
Absolutely. And you and Chi-Chi had that little thing going, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome to see the dynamic of the Coven grow as the story went on. So talk to me about the moment before the soccer game with you and Sunny, because I know you care a lot about her. You're a part of a team, all this stuff. So let's hear it.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, it was important to me that she played. After growing up, how she did and being introduced to Juju, it was a perfect moment. Also, she can play, man.
She can play, man. I mean, Sunny, she's a good soccer player. She grew up different, you're right. But at the end of the day, if you're good, you're good. I know it was kind of like an all boys thing, but like for her to break through the barrier, for her to do all those things, especially with your help, it shows a lot about you. So you showed me some democratic masculinity there. That's awesome to hear.
As I grew closer to the group, it makes sense. I didn't have a great view of women growing up, but after being with them, my view changed. I want equality between genders, treating women in respectful, caring ways.
Right. That's awesome, man. You showed that intentionally in this scene really well.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely, man. So I want to stop and talk about democratic masculinity right quick. When I was in college, there was a class I took that talked a lot about gender and democratic masculinity and things like that. So in that class, the teacher, who will be on this episode in a little bit actually, described it really well. He said that those men advocated for women's rights, abandoned outdated notions of being male, which is super awesome. Men like this went away from the blue collar emotion, or the blue collar, like no emotions, super tough all the time, don't show anything attitude. Now they show emotion to their family. They're more caring, they're more affectionate. This means a lot. I've experienced both. I've experienced a super tough, and I've also experienced maybe too much soft, things like that. So democratic masculinity, I feel like, is in that fine line of just being the right, showing emotion to your family, acknowledging that you're weak, and finding strength in those things, and finding strength in your family, things like that. So.
Yes, sir, bro. It's awesome to see how far we've come, and it's even awesomer to see how much we can grow.
Absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Thank you for taking a deep dive into Akeda Witch. Any last second things?
Thank you, bro, for having me.
Awesome. You want to be different, interesting, something to just be yourself? Look no further. Today's episode is brought to y'all by the All-Star Glasses. These are not normal, like what everyone else wears. The zigzag design on the arms, the one-of-a-kind design on the front makes these amazing. So many different colors, but none like the normal people. There's no more blue, there's no more red, all these things. There's indigo, there's all these Star-Spangled Banner type flavors, all just for your glasses. Be different, be yourself, and have some fun. Thank you, All Star Glasses, for helping bring this episode to many people around the world. Welcome back to the Bo Show. Today we're taking a deep dive into Akeda Witch. Sasha just joined us to talk about the story and how all that went down with his democratic masculinity actions and things like that in different scenes. So, now we welcome another important figure to Akeda Witch, obviously the main character, Sunny herself, one who has learned much about herself and the world, coming from being bullied for every little thing to finding herself in a greater identity in the Juju realm with her friends. Welcome, Sunny.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's good to have you. It'll be good to hear how your life has been for you. I have some questions about your story and how you're so strong, especially in the face of adversity. So, how was it growing up?
It was definitely tough. Being albino affects a person so much more than you think. It felt like something was wrong with me all the time, even though it was just my skin color. I was born in America. It was not long because people in Nigeria made fun of me for the whole way I looked like. You saw a story in me. Getting beat up, struggled, and so much to fit in. Even though it was my past, I'm so thankful for how my story is going.
Awesome. That's amazing to hear. I know growing up rough, it's hard. It's hard for all people. It's hard for you, and it's just a hard thing to do. So, it's good to hear that the story, like how it has affected your life, it is turning around so well. So, what do you say that the adversity you faced early on, like, what do you say that made you who you are?
For sure. Those experiences really made me physically and mentally tough. It was allowed me to gain wisdom and faith. Also, it has taught me the importance of loyalty. The Coven and I are very much intact, and it is because of how loyal and dedicated we are to each other. We are able to pick each other up when down, and that I am very, very thankful for.
Yes. That is something I have seen in my life as well. Pain can grow us a whole lot. Whether you're a Christian or believing in Jesus, that could grow you in your faith, things like that. That's what I am, and so it's interesting. So tell me what you know about the new woman.
Yeah, this is something that means really much to me, actually. I feel like I embody that in my life, being able to support myself and communicate with men, knowing I am equally as human as they are, and it's been amazing. Also, I am a bold person, not letting someone rule over me. There's a scene or two in the movie that I actually do like that.
Yes, you do that. And you led me right into the next question. So, there's a scene that you speak up against Kehinde, obviously, in Night Runner Forest and all those things. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so we were going in this hut at Night Runner Forest. We almost didn't make it. He acted as if it was nothing at all. We almost died, and we would have just said our bodies were captured by a black hat. I spoke up. I got mad because that is no way to treat your students. It was not fair. Looking back on it, that helped us be better in battle and as a team, so it was not the worst thing ever.
Right, and like we talked about earlier, how the adversity grows you, and how the adversity just makes a difference in your life. So I know in that scene, Orlu and Chi-Chi, they make some bold moves. They end up saving the crew. Orlu is kind of leading the pack. I know he's a little bit annoyed, but at the same time, it's like that's what grows a family. That's what grows a coven. So, would you say that other women in that time were doing that, acting in the ways that you were?
Unfortunately, I would have to say no. I am pushing for women to speak up and be leaders, but in that time, no. Some would have, for sure. It was not as normal in those days.
Right. And that was a little bit ago. Obviously, you're older now, and things are changing, and I'm sure you're glad to see that. But, yeah, it's unfortunate that at that time they weren't. But you being so bold and you being so just out there has really led to many amazing things. So what are you doing today to push for those women's rights and those women's strengths?
Well, I go around different conference centers and colleges to speak about these things. Also having an organization that supports women in times of trouble. These are other small things that we can do to help. But those are just the big ones.
Right. And you do a whole lot. I mean, you have made a career out of it. And all just pushing for women's rights and just being a selfless individual, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
And you're so bold about this. From what I know about the New Woman, they're opposed to socio-political traditions that have expected women to be pious, pure and submissive, domesticated, and sought awareness of and protection from abuse and harassment. Would you agree?
I absolutely would. I do agree. For a woman who did this before the others, I have given props. Being bold like that they were in the 50s and 60s must have been scary. But without it, we would not be where we are today.
Right. For sure. Well, we are thankful to have you on the podcast. It was a great time. We learned about you and what you believe in.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. And I have lost all my man cards.
Now, it's time to shout out a huge sponsor for today's episode, which is Slick Rick's Hair Gel. This amazing gel will get a man looking good, and I mean real good. No need to worry about a date or a good time anymore. Slick Rick's will make you want to go out and dance. Dance till the night is no more. Its top secret formula, which y'all cannot see, has changed men's hairstyles worldwide. Tested and approved by many scientists and models. This is the answer for your hair. Thank you, Slick Rick's Hair Gel, for your time and for what you've done for us.
Slick Rick's Hair Gel.
Welcome back to The Bo Show. He's talking to two people that helped us understand a lot about Akeda Witch, things like democratic masculinity, and the New Woman. It's good to hear them speak on what they believe in and how they live it out. These are both roles a person can live that step outside the lines of the normal ways. No longer do we need to act all tough as men, like nothing affects us at all. And as women, we have no need to be in second place and not shown equality. Over the years, these roles have grown. Now, as our final guest for today's episode, we have the one and only Dr. Hud.
Hey, what's going on, my people?
So, Dr. Hud, how you doing lately?
I'm doing great. The semester's been fun. Teaching students about femininity and masculinity is super impactful.
I bet. I mean, it was awesome. When I remember that class, man, it was the best. So, tell me about the New Woman and how that plays a role in your class.
Yeah, absolutely. So the New Woman really started in the 60s. Women wanted the rights for all women. There has since been some movements that are more individually based, but the New Woman is about women as a whole. They wanted control over their own body and make their own decisions.
Right, absolutely. And there's things that, as it said, that an individual role, making it all about yourself. It's not just a woman movement, it's an individual movement. Maybe things that are more inappropriate for the younger people that are going on in those movements, and that is something that we don't necessarily agree with. That's how they choose to live their lives, and that is them. But as a woman, I'm sure that all women want equality for all women. So there's that. And then they also there's this thing called a superwoman. This person was often single and worked a big job while also raising children and taking care of the home at the same time. Obviously, having that big old job and raising a family is super hard, but some made it work. Women started being viewed as capable in the corporate world, especially. No longer did they have to work as a receptionist and things like that. They're able to take on these manager roles and even higher positions. This is super important. I remember in that class that Dr. Hood you taught, where we were looking at Mr. Mom and how that played a role in your class and how that played a role in everything you were talking about. The main character and his wife were struggling a little bit. He lost his job, but the wife stepped up. The wife became that superwoman, was able to work and raise the kids at the same time. Obviously, the dad didn't have the best time raising the kids and doing all those things. It was a comedic movie, of course, but that's how that went down.
Yeah, so Bo's one of my favorite students. He's always paying attention in class, so he can just spit it all off right now.
Absolutely. Thank you. That means a lot. So, how do you think that affects women today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it gives a great example of what women could do. They don't have to chase after the big job if they don't want to, but they have the option on the table. Not only it gives them the confidence to pursue their goals without so much retaliation, Unfortunately, women are not quite at the same level of men in the corporate world with things like the pay. They're still pushing for this equality and will get in the future. I just know it.
Hey, that's amazing news. Well, it's been awesome to talk to you and all the guests. We learned about Akediwich and took a deep dive into that. Also, looked at the new woman in democratic masculinity. These are ways of life men and women can live. They push past the normal boundaries, again, as we've been saying, and allow for the freedom and perseverance. So thank you for joining the Boat Show. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.